So let me jump into reporting. So reporting at Optmyzr is based around a template system. And the thinking here is you should really only have to make a template once, and then you can apply that template to as many accounts as is necessary. Because in many situations, you may have like 3 reports. Maybe you have one report for accounts that have no conversion data, one for accounts with CPA data, and one for accounts that also do e-commerce. So maybe they have value for conversion. So you have ROAS, return on ad spend data. So you simply set up these 3 templates, and then for each account, you can say, okay, show me that report for that particular account. Now, if you're like me, you end up with having tons and tons of reports down here in your custom templates, and it becomes a little bit unwieldy. So with any of these reports, you can click here and you can say, add it to my favorites. And then for that particular account, this template is going to show up in this section. So it helps you remember which reports you typically run for that particular client. So the way that these reports then work is they're all based on templates. Now you can create a template from scratch, but I'm going to show you one where I've already started doing a bit of work on. And the template designer looks like this. It's based around widgets. Here on the left side, you see all of the different data widgets that you can include on the report. Now you can already see there's a bunch of them already on here. What I can do is I can click on one of these new widgets, and you'll notice that it gets added to the bottom of the page. So I can give that widget a title. Or if I don't want to give it a title, I can also click the remove button. Or if I want to put it at the top of the report, I can click here and move its position around. Can also put a new page if I wanted to. Now, if you're not sure what this particular widget is going to look like, you can always click on the preview button, and that pulls live data from your account and shows you what it will look like on the PDF once you generate that. So there you go. So it's a KPI widget that just shows you big numbers, no charts, no nothing, but just the big overall numbers for that account. Now, you'll notice each of these has settings, so you can enable and disable any of the columns that you are interested in or don't want to include. And then you can also set different scopes of how much of the account is included in this particular widget and what is the date range that's included. The way you do that is through selector widgets up here at the top. And so these will always stay at the top. But now what's nice with our reports is that you're not limited to just a single date range. You can pick multiple date ranges. So if I want to have a 4th date range, I click on that button again. And now there's an additional, it's a 5th date range being added here. So I can have different date ranges throughout the report. As I add more of these date range pickers, you'll notice that in the date range picker of the widget, it shows all of the ones I've enabled. So now I can easily do data from the last month. And here I can even include a percentage change, and I can say last month versus the month before. Or I can say last month of last year. So it's a year-over-year comparison that I'm doing. And once again, you can just click preview to see what that would look like before you then finalize the report and save it and send it to the client. I also mentioned we have some of the data insight widgets. So these are similar to what you will have seen in the data insight section of the Optmyzr tool. So the hour of the week report, for example, you can include that by clicking here. You can choose your different metrics, your different date ranges, your different scopes. So as far as the scope, you can do the whole account. You can just have branded campaigns, shopping campaigns. And the way you set these things up is you do have to do it yourself first. You have to click on campaign selector widgets. And then for each of these campaign pickers, you can select the scope. So typically we have one that says the whole account, all campaigns. But then we can also use Adwords Labels. So for example, we can say pick all of the campaigns that have the label branded yes. Or pick all of the campaigns where it says, shopping campaigns. So that way, then these selectors become available for each of the widgets. So you see right here, these 3 scopes are available. Now I can add as many of these again as I want. If I wanted to have 20 different campaigns, each reported individually, you could simply make 20 campaign pickers and then select from this dropdown, which would then reflect all 20 choices that you had made. So that's the way that the reports are set up. Now, once you're happy with this, you can save the template. I'm just going to exit out of this. You can save the template, and then you can click on that link in this particular account that you want to run the report for, and it's going to generate the report using all of the settings that you put in, and then at this moment in time. So if this report is looking back at last month, currently, because it's December, it would look at November data. If I were to run the same report in January, of course, then it would include December data because it's looking relative to today's date. So it says last month would in that case be December. So it's just going to take a little while here to load. It's pulling some data to populate all of the widgets that we have on the page. And then once that's done, you can do a few things with this report. You can either share it with the client as a PDF or as a link. Now, as a PDF, it'll be basically what you see on the screen. So you can zoom in and zoom out on stuff. And whatever is the current view, that's going to be what's generated in the PDF. If, on the other hand, you send a link to the client, what's nice is that the interactivity of the report becomes preserved. So if your client looks at this and they say, oh, what's this big spike here in the blue? Well, rather than having to call you up to ask for the number, they can play with the data points on this report. Again, in the interactive report, even the map is interactive. So as you would expect on a Google map, you can probably zoom in. So this is going to take a few seconds here to render the new data, pick out the new data. But so it's pulling that data right now, and then it's going to show it to you on a map of the United States. So you'll get a little bit more visual detail. And once again, your client could then easily zoom in on the state that they want to know more about. And if they're curious about what this number here means, they can click on that and actually get more information about it. So it's a great way to share an interactive report with one of your clients or one of your stakeholders. All of these sharing options, by the way, are available from the top here. So you can say, download the PDF, get the report link, or you can email it to someone. Very useful for agencies and people who run frequent reports is the scheduling of reports. So with a schedule, you can say, I want to email this to a particular person with a particular subject and email text, and I want to do it on all of these different dates of the month. So you're not limited to just one date. You can pick as many of these as you wish. So that's how you do scheduled reporting. The final thing that I didn't show you is you can also leave comments. So of course, you might want to put a little bit of commentary about what these numbers mean. And so for each of these sections, as you hover here, you see that box to click to add a comment. And then you can just put in whatever text you want. You can also save this as a snapshot. So if you have multiple people collaborating on this report, you save it as a snapshot. And then the other person who's working on this will be able to go back to the template, the report section here. And here's a tab for snapshots. And that will be where all the snapshots are saved. So here now you can see a report that was generated a while ago and the comments that your colleague left. You can go and edit those comments, and then you can email it to the client if you want. If you want to take a look at your email history or the scheduled reports that you have set up, those are available from right there.